moments in life when something within you speaks louder than the noise of the world, yet no one else can hear it. It is not a voice made of sound, but a gentle stirring, a soft nudge, a whisper from somewhere beyond reason. Most people dismiss it. They call it coincidence, chance, or imagination. But if you pause, if you truly pay attention, you begin to realize this is not randomness at all. It is the language of the universe, trying to reach you. Think about those times when you were about to make a decision, and suddenly a strange feeling stopped you. It wasn't fear. It wasn't hesitation. It was something deeper. A sense that something wasn't right. Later, maybe hours, maybe days, you discovered that following that path would have led to pain or regret. That quiet warning saved you. Where did it come from? Logic couldn't explain it. No one else told you. Yet something inside, something beyond, already knew. And there are other times when you feel a pull towards something, even when it makes no sense. A random book falls from a shelf, and it contains the exact words you needed. You think of someone, and they call you within minutes. You miss a bus, only to discover that missing it aligned you perfectly for another opportunity. These are not accidents. These are whispers of the universe guiding you gently along a path you cannot yet see. We are taught to trust only what is visible, measurable, and rational. From childhood, society tells us, if you cannot prove it, it is not real. But the most powerful truths in your life cannot be measured. You cannot measure love, yet it moves mountains. You cannot weigh hope, yet it sustains nations. You cannot photograph faith, yet it transforms lives. The whisper of the universe works in the same way. It is subtle, but it is real. It moves not in noise but in silence, not in force but in flow. The difficulty is that most people live surrounded by noise, mental noise, emotional noise, the constant pull of fear and worry. In this noise, the whisper is drowned out. The voice of the universe does not compete with chaos. It speaks softly, patiently, waiting for you to quiet yourself enough to hear it. When your mind is restless, the whisper seems absent. But when your heart is still, when your breath slows, when you allow space for silence, suddenly it becomes clear. That is why so many great thinkers, mystics, and seekers across history spoke of stillness. They knew that silence is not empty. Silence is full of guidance. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean. The waves are crashing loudly. You can hear only the roar. But beneath the surface, in the deep, there are calm currents, steady and guiding. The whisper of the universe is like those deep currents. Most people stay on the surface, tossed around by waves of noise. But those who learn to listen sink deeper, beyond the roar, and they feel the pull of the current that quietly directs them where they need to go. The whisper doesn't always make sense in the moment. Sometimes it asks you to walk away when everything looks perfect. Sometimes it asks you to leap when nothing looks certain. It doesn't argue. It doesn't debate. It simply nudges. The rational mind will question it. The ego will resist it. But later, when the pieces fall into place, you look back and realize that whisper knew the path long before you could see it. There is also a beauty in how personal the whisper is. It speaks to you in ways only you can recognize. For one person, it might be numbers repeating everywhere they look. For another, it might be dreams that feel more like messages than illusions. For someone else, it might be people appearing in their life at the exact right moment. The language of the universe is unique to each soul, as if tailored to ensure you know it is meant for you. But to hear it, you must be willing to trust it. Trust does not mean blind belief. Trust means allowing space for possibilities beyond your control. It means acknowledging that you are connected to something greater than your individual self. When you live only by what you can control, you close yourself off from the whisper. But when you open your heart to what lies beyond, the guidance flows more easily, more clearly. Think of it like a radio. The signal is always there. But if you are tuned to the wrong frequency, you hear only static. The whisper of the universe is the pure signal, but your mind and emotions are the tuner. When your thoughts are chaotic, you are on the wrong station. When you center yourself in peace, gratitude, and openness, Suddenly the static clears and the message comes through. Great discoveries, life-changing inventions, even revolutions of thought often began with a whisper. Einstein himself said he trusted imagination more than knowledge, because knowledge was limited but imagination touched infinity. That imagination was not random. It was a channel to the field beyond logic, a way of listening to whispers that most ignore. You have experienced this yourself, even if you forgot. Remember the time you followed an inner voice, though you didn't know why, and it led you to something incredible. Remember the time you ignored it, and regret followed. The whisper does not punish, it does not force, it simply points. Whether you listen is your choice, but every time you ignore it, life gives you another chance, another nudge, another whisper. When you begin to honor these whispers, life transforms. You realize you are not walking alone. You are in constant dialogue with a universe that is alive, aware, and deeply connected to you. Suddenly life feels less like a battle to control, and more like a dance to flow with. You stop needing to force every detail, because you realize guidance is always available. This is why people who live in tune with the universe often appear calm, even in storms. It is not that they have fewer challenges. It is not that they know the future with certainty. It is that they trust the whisper more than the noise. They feel a quiet confidence, as if something larger is holding them, guiding them, preparing them for what is next. And when you live this way, small things begin to feel extraordinary. A random meeting becomes a doorway. A sudden thought becomes a sign. A delay becomes protection. You stop labeling everything as good or bad, and begin to see all of it as guidance. The whisper becomes not just something you hear occasionally. It becomes the rhythm of your life, a constant reminder that you are connected to something infinite. Chapter 2. Living in Two Worlds. Most people live their entire lives thinking reality is only what they can touch, see, and measure. If they cannot grasp it with their hands or analyze it with their five senses, they dismiss it as imagination, fantasy, or something unreal. Yet, hidden beneath the surface of our everyday experiences, there exists another dimension, a quantum reality that quietly shapes everything we know. To live fully, one must learn to recognize that we are not confined to one world. We are citizens of two worlds, the physical and the quantum. The physical world is what you and I interact with daily. It is the chair you sit on, the phone in your hand, the ground beneath your feet. This is the world of form, solidity, and matter. It follows the rules of logic and material cause and effect. If you push something, it moves. If you light a fire, it burns. In this world, time seems linear, moving from past to present to future, and actions seem to have direct, visible consequences. But science, especially quantum physics, reveals that this is not the whole story. Beneath the physical lies an invisible web of energy and possibility, the quantum world. This is the world where particles are not fixed objects but probabilities, where something can exist in multiple states at once until observed. In the quantum world, time is not as rigid as it appears in the physical, distance is not as binding, connection is not limited to what you can see. Think about this for a moment. Your body is made up of trillions of atoms, and each atom is more empty space than solid substance. What you call matter is mostly vibrating energy arranged in patterns that create the illusion of solidity. If you magnify your hand down to the subatomic level, you would not see something solid, you would see waves of energy flickering in and out of existence. This means the physical body you rely on is at its core quantum energy organized by unseen laws. Living in two worlds means understanding this duality. On one hand, you navigate the practical world, paying bills, speaking with friends, eating food, and resting at night. On the other hand, whether you recognize it or not, you are constantly influencing and being influenced by the quantum world, the unseen field of energy that surrounds you and flows through you. Your thoughts, your emotions, and even your expectations vibrate at certain frequencies, and these frequencies interact with the quantum field to shape outcomes in your physical life. This is why sometimes you think of a person, and suddenly they call you. It is not coincidence, it is resonance. It is why certain environments feel heavy, while others feel uplifting. Energy moves between the two worlds, and you are both the transmitter and the receiver. For centuries, mystics and spiritual teachers have spoken about this truth in poetic language. They used words like spirit, soul, or the unseen to describe what modern science now calls energy fields and quantum reality. Where religion spoke of prayer moving mountains, quantum physics now suggests that focused intention collapses probabilities into reality. Though the languages differ, both point toward the same truth. What you see with your eyes is only a fraction of what exists. Living only in the physical world limits you. It makes you believe you are a victim of circumstances, bound by what you can touch. You think success comes only from hard work, luck, or connections. You believe love is limited to chance encounters or appearances. You imagine healing is confined to medicine and material intervention. But when you awaken to the second world, the quantum world, you realize you are more powerful than you have ever been told. You realize your thoughts carry weight. Your energy leaves imprints. Your alignment with higher frequencies pulls experiences toward you just as gravity pulls objects down. Scientists describe something called quantum entanglement, where two particles separated by vast distances still influence each other instantly. If one particle spins in a certain direction, the other will mirror it, even if they are light years apart. This phenomenon defies the rules of space and time as we know them. Now imagine this truth applied to your life. Your intentions, your emotions, your silent prayers. These two create ripples in the quantum field that stretch far beyond what you can measure. What you send out returns to you, often in ways you cannot logically explain. To live in two worlds is not to abandon one for the other. It is not to reject the physical for the mystical or science for spirit. Instead, it is to weave them together, to walk in both with awareness. You still eat, work, and care for your responsibilities, but you also cultivate your inner world, because you know it has just as much impact on your reality as your actions. Imagine waking up each morning, and remembering that you are not only a body but also an energetic being. Your body may move through the routines of work and relationships, but your energy field is constantly shaping possibilities. This awareness shifts how you approach challenges. Instead of panicking, you tune yourself to trust. Instead of being consumed by fear, you choose gratitude. In doing so, you send out frequencies that reshape your circumstances at the unseen level. The reason some people appear to flow through life, attracting opportunities and connections effortlessly, is because they unconsciously align more with the quantum world than with the physical. They are not fighting against the stream. They are swimming with it. Their thoughts, emotions, and energy align with what they desire, and as a result, reality rearranges itself to match their frequency. This is not magical thinking. It is resonance. A radio station plays only when you tune to the correct frequency. Similarly, life responds to the channel you broadcast from. If your mind is filled with scarcity, doubt, and negativity, you tune into a reality where those experiences manifest. But when your inner world radiates trust, love, and abundance, you tune into a different reality altogether. Living in two worlds also means recognizing that your senses are limited. You cannot see Wi-Fi signals, yet they carry massive amounts of information that connect the globe. You cannot see the magnetic field of the Earth, yet it keeps your compass pointing north. Just because your eyes cannot perceive it, does not mean it is not real. In the same way, the quantum field is invisible but undeniable. It is there, waiting for you to engage with it. This is where practices like meditation, mindfulness, and visualization become powerful. They train your awareness to expand beyond the physical, to sense the subtle field of energy that flows through everything. When you quiet your mind, you tune in more deeply to the quantum world. When you visualize a desired outcome, you impress it into the field, and slowly the physical begins to rearrange in response. The challenge for many is that the physical world feels so loud, so demanding, that the quieter voice of the quantum world is ignored. Bills, schedules, deadlines, and problems scream for attention, while the subtle whispers of energy are drowned out. Yet, those who learn to balance both worlds discover a power that transforms how they live. Chapter 3. The frequency of your being. Every person radiates a signal into the universe. This signal isn't visible to the naked eye, but it is felt. You can call it energy, vibration, or frequency. It is the resonance of your being. What you think, what you feel, and what you deeply believe create this frequency, and the universe responds to it without fail. It does not respond to words alone, nor to empty wishes, but to the truth of the energy you are embodying at every moment. Think about it this way. If you walk into a room filled with people, you can often sense the mood without anyone speaking. You can tell if there has been an argument. You can feel whether joy or sadness lingers in the air. That isn't magic. It is frequency. Emotions are vibrations, and they extend beyond the body. Fear, doubt, and anger resonate at lower frequencies. Gratitude, love, and trust resonate at higher ones. The universe is like a vast mirror, reflecting back to you what you are sending out. This is why so many people find themselves trapped in cycles they don't want. They may say they desire abundance, but their frequency is tuned to lack. They may wish for love, but their vibration is rooted in fear of rejection. They may want success, but their inner world radiates doubt and unworthiness. The universe is not punishing them. It is simply responding to the frequency they are living in. You cannot broadcast fear and expect to receive peace. You cannot vibrate lack and expect abundance to arrive. The frequency of your being is not about pretending. You cannot trick the universe with fake positivity or forced affirmations. What matters is the core resonance, the authentic vibration that comes from within. If deep inside you are afraid, the energy of fear will radiate no matter how many times you repeat, "I am fearless." But if deep inside you cultivate genuine trust and calm, even without saying a word, your energy shifts and the universe shifts with it. Imagine two people planting seeds. One plants seeds of hope, faith, and patience. The other plants seeds of worry, doubt, and fear. They both cover their seeds with soil and water them. From the outside, their actions may look the same, but what grows will be different. The first will see strong plants reaching toward the light, while the other may see weak growth, tangled roots, and frustration. The soil, the universe, does not choose favorites. It simply grows what was planted. That is the law of frequency. Think of your mind and heart as transmitters. They are constantly broadcasting signals, whether you are aware of it or not. Every thought, every belief, every emotion sends out a message. The more consistent the message, the stronger the frequency becomes. That is why repetition of fear creates more fear, and repetition of gratitude creates more things to be grateful for. You cannot escape this truth. Your inner state is the foundation of your outer reality. To understand this more deeply, think of a radio. The world is filled with countless stations broadcasting music, voices, and sounds, but the radio only plays what it is tuned to. If you set it to a frequency of 98.2 FM, you will not hear what is playing on 104.7 FM. Both signals exist all around you, but you only receive the one you are aligned with. Life works the same way. Abundance, joy, and love are always being broadcast by the universe. So are fear, chaos, and lack. What you experience depends on what you are tuned to. When you hold fear, you align yourself with experiences that match fear. When you hold trust, you align with experiences that match trust. The frequency of your being acts like the dial, determining which station of reality you experience. That is why two people can live in the same city, under the same conditions, but one sees opportunities everywhere while the other sees only obstacles. Their frequencies are different, so the universe mirrors back different realities. This is not philosophy alone. It is science. Studies in quantum physics show that particles behave differently, depending on the observer. Reality shifts in response to attention, intention, and energy. What you focus on expands. What you believe in stabilizes. What you emotionally fuel becomes magnetic. The frequency of your being is not just spiritual, it is the very architecture of reality itself. Consider gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest frequencies a person can embody. When you feel genuine gratitude, your energy softens, expands, and becomes magnetic. Gratitude signals to the universe that you already have enough, and so more comes. On the other hand, When you live in lack, always focusing on what you don't have, the frequency you emit says, I am without. The universe, like a mirror, reflects that state back to you and you remain without. Love operates in the same way. Love is not just a feeling between people. It is a frequency that opens doors, heals, and draws connection. When you embody love, you attract love. But when you live in fear of abandonment, betrayal, or loneliness, you often repel what you seek most. The vibration of fear creates barriers, while the vibration of love creates bridges. Trust is another powerful frequency. Trust says, I believe things are working out, even if I cannot see it yet. It is not blind. It is rooted in the awareness that the universe responds faithfully to frequency. Trust releases resistance, and in doing so allows what you desire to move toward you naturally. Doubt, by contrast, creates tension, hesitation, and blockage. It is like tuning a radio halfway between stations. The sound is filled with static, and the message never comes through clearly. Every day you are given opportunities to adjust your frequency. A delay, an obstacle, or a disappointment can either pull you into frustration or push you into patience. That choice shapes your energy. If you react with anger, your frequency shifts lower, and life reflects more reasons to be angry. If you respond with calm, your frequency stabilizes, and life reflects more moments of peace. The outer is always a mirror of the inner. Even your body reveals the truth of your frequency. Stress, fear, and doubt tighten the muscles, weaken the immune system, and drain vitality. Peace, love, and gratitude relax the body, strengthen the immune system, and energize life. The body is not separate from the vibration, it is a reflection of it. Your health, your relationships, and your success are all expressions of the frequency you are living in. When you begin to notice your frequency, life changes. Instead of blaming circumstances, you ask, what vibration am I sending out? Instead of forcing results, you shift your energy. Instead of trying to control everything, you focus on embodying gratitude, love, and trust. And as you do, the universe mirrors these states back to you in ways that feel natural and effortless. The truth is simple. The universe does not hear your words. It feels your frequency. It does not respond to what you demand. It responds to what you are. Chapter 4. Alignment versus resistance. Life often feels like a current, like a great river moving endlessly forward. Some people seem to glide effortlessly with its flow, while others struggle against the waves, exhausted by resistance they do not fully understand. What makes the difference? Why do some move with grace, while others fight a battle that drains them daily? The answer lies in one word: alignment. Alignment is not about perfection. It is not about controlling every detail of your life or forcing outcomes. Alignment is about harmony. It is about resonating with the deeper frequencies of existence, those subtle rhythms that shape everything we see and experience. When you are aligned, you feel as though life is supporting you, guiding you, and opening doors that you didn't even know were there. When you are resistant, the opposite happens. Everything feels heavy, difficult, and closed off. Think of alignment like tuning into a radio frequency. The music is always there, being broadcast through the airwaves. But if your dial is set to the wrong station, all you will hear is static. The music doesn't stop existing. It is simply inaccessible to you. In the same way, the field of possibilities, opportunities, and guidance is always present. The question is, what frequency are you tuned to? When you are aligned, you experience synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that feel almost too perfect to be chance. A phone call at the exact right moment, meeting someone who connects you to your next opportunity, coming across words in a book that seem to answer a question you have been silently carrying. These are not accidents. They are signs that you are tuned to the right frequency, where the invisible patterns of the universe begin to match your inner state. Resistance, on the other hand, is like trying to swim upstream. You are fighting against the natural rhythm of life. This usually happens when fear, doubt, or control dominates your inner world. Resistance can look like constant frustration, repeated failure, or endless waiting with no movement forward. It is not that the universe is against you. It is that your inner state is out of harmony with the flow of life. To understand this more deeply, imagine a leaf floating on a river. If the leaf is surrendered, it moves effortlessly with the current. It does not fight. It does not panic. It allows itself to be carried. That does not mean it is passive. The river still takes it to new places, over bends, through rapids, and around obstacles. But the leaf's power is in its surrender. Now imagine a person thrashing in the same river, desperately trying to swim against the flow. Exhaustion sets in, panic rises, and even though the current is ultimately stronger, they resist until they are drained. This is the difference between alignment and resistance. Alignment is not about passivity. It is about intelligent surrender. It is about understanding that you are not here to control every wave, but to work with the current. It means trusting that the river is leading you somewhere meaningful, even if you cannot see the full path ahead. Resistance arises when we demand to control, when we insist life must look exactly as we imagine, when we cling tightly to outcomes instead of allowing space for something greater to unfold. Energy plays a central role in alignment. Every thought, every emotion, carries a vibration. Gratitude vibrates at a frequency that attracts abundance. Fear vibrates at a frequency that attracts more fear. Doubt calls more doubt. Trust calls more guidance. This is not wishful thinking. It is resonance. Just as two tuning forks of the same frequency will begin to vibrate together, your inner frequency attracts external circumstances that match. Think of someone you know, who seems constantly unlucky, always in conflict, always facing obstacles. Often if you look closely, their inner world is filled with negativity, anger, or hopelessness. They are tuned to a frequency of resistance, and so life mirrors it back. Contrast that with someone who seems to move with ease, doors opening for them, opportunities flowing their way. Their outer ease is a reflection of their inner alignment. But alignment is not only about opportunities, it is also about clarity. When you are aligned, decisions feel lighter. You no longer agonize over every choice, because there is a sense of knowing, a quiet confidence guiding you. Resistance clouds the mind. It breeds confusion, second-guessing, and endless worry. Alignment clears the static, so that intuition can be heard more clearly. Another way to view alignment is through the lens of effort. When aligned, your actions feel inspired. Work does not drain you in the same way, because it feels purposeful. Resistance makes every step feel heavy, as though you are dragging your feet through mud. The same action, when done from resistance, feels exhausting, but when done from alignment feels energizing. Alignment can also be felt in the body. When you are resisting life, your body often holds tension, shoulders tighten, the chest feels heavy, breathing becomes shallow. When aligned, the body relaxes, energy flows more freely, and there is a sense of openness. The body is a mirror of your inner state, constantly revealing whether you are resisting or allowing. It is important to note that alignment does not mean the absence of challenges. Even when flowing with the river, there are rapids, rocks, and storms. But alignment gives you resilience. Instead of panicking in the rapids, you move through them with trust, knowing they are temporary. Resistance makes every obstacle feel like a wall. Alignment transforms obstacles into stepping stones. The path to alignment often requires letting go. Letting go of rigid expectations. Letting go of fear-based thinking. Letting go of the need to know every detail before taking a step. Letting go is not weakness. It is strength. It is the strength to trust that something greater than your limited perspective is at work. Meditation, reflection, and mindfulness are powerful tools for alignment. They quiet the noise of resistance and help you hear the deeper rhythm beneath the surface. Gratitude is another key practice. By focusing on what is already good, you shift your frequency toward abundance. Resistance thrives on lack and scarcity. Alignment thrives on presence and appreciation. When you practice alignment, you notice subtle shifts. Conversations become more meaningful. Opportunities arise more naturally. You feel less urgency and more peace. Resistance, by contrast, makes you rush, grasp, and cling. It is fueled by the belief that you are separate from life, alone in your struggle. Alignment reminds you that you are part of something larger, a field of energy and intelligence that supports your journey. The truth is, you are always in one of two states, aligning or resisting. Every thought, every emotion, every action either flows with the current or fights against it. Awareness is the first step. Simply noticing where resistance shows up in your life, whether in relationships, work, or within yourself, begins to loosen its grip. The more you notice, the more you can choose alignment. Chapter 5. Practices that tune your energy. When we speak of energy alignment and the unseen field, it can sometimes feel abstract or distant. People ask, how do I actually tune into this? How do I shift my vibration from fear to trust, from chaos to peace? The answer lies not in grand gestures, but in small consistent practices that gradually rewire your being. These practices are not rituals you perform once in a while. They are disciplines, ways of living, ways of seeing, and ways of training your mind and body to step into resonance with the greater field. One of the most powerful practices is meditation. Meditation is not about emptying the mind or forcing silence. It is about becoming aware. When you sit down, close your eyes, and observe the endless stream of thoughts, you begin to realize how much of your day is run by unconscious chatter. Thoughts of fear, of what if, of judgment, of lack. They hum in the background, often unnoticed. Meditation shines a light on this noise. And as you breathe deeply and observe, you discover that you are not the thoughts themselves, but the awareness behind them. This awareness is the same awareness that connects to the field. The longer you sit in it, the more you experience the shift. Your body relaxes, your mind slows, and your frequency rises from stress to calm, from resistance to openness. Closely tied to meditation is the practice of prayer. Prayer is not merely reciting memorized words. It is a dialogue, a conversation between the seen and the unseen. When you pray with sincerity, when you lift your words with gratitude rather than desperation, something within you shifts. You stop begging and start believing. You move from asking for help out of fear to thanking for blessings as if they are already here. This is one of the greatest secrets. Gratitude in prayer is not about waiting for proof, but about aligning with faith before the evidence arrives. In this state, your energy vibrates at trust, and the field responds in kind. Then comes the practice of visualization. To visualize is to create with the mind what the eyes cannot yet see. But the key is not just to imagine the picture, it is to embody the feeling. You don't simply imagine yourself living in abundance. You feel the abundance. You don't simply see yourself healed. You feel the health coursing through you. The field does not respond to hollow daydreams. It responds to frequency, and emotion is the fuel of frequency. If you can imagine the future and feel it as though it is happening now, you collapse the gap between what is real and what is possible. The body begins to experience the imagined as truth, and the field begins to organize reality around that vibration. Alongside meditation, prayer, and visualization is the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is not just a polite thank you. It is an energy shift. When you wake up and immediately think of what is wrong, your body floods with stress hormones and your vibration sinks. But when you wake up and deliberately name the blessings, your breath, your health, the roof above you, the people who love you, your heart opens. Gratitude is the quickest way to tune your frequency higher, because it grounds you in the abundance of now. And when you vibrate with abundance, you attract more of it. Another powerful practice is breath work. The breath is the bridge between the conscious and subconscious, between the body and the mind. Shallow, rapid breathing keeps you in fight or flight mode, stuck in survival frequencies. Deep, intentional breathing signals to the body, you are safe, you are present, you are alive. By simply breathing slowly and fully, you reset your nervous system. Each inhale draws in new energy. Each exhale releases resistance. Through breath you create space in your body for alignment to flow. Movement is also a way of tuning energy. This is not just exercise for fitness, but movement with awareness. Yoga, Tai Chi, even mindful walking. All of these connect the body to the field. When you move with intention, aligning breath and motion, you dissolve blockages in energy flow. The body becomes not a heavy cage, but a living vessel that vibrates in harmony. Think of how stagnant you feel when you sit too long, and how alive you feel after stretching, dancing, or moving freely. Movement clears stagnation, and in that clearing, energy rises. One often overlooked practice is silence. In a world of constant noise, notifications, conversations, media, silence is medicine. To sit in silence is to withdraw from the outer noise so you can hear the inner voice. In silence, intuition speaks louder. In silence, the field whispers. Many people are afraid of silence because it confronts them with themselves. But if you learn to befriend it, silence becomes a sanctuary where alignment is renewed. Then there is the discipline of detachment. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. When you desperately cling to outcomes, your energy radiates fear and lack. But when you act with faith and release the need to control every detail, you trust the process. Detachment says, I will do my part with excellence, but I will not strangle the result with anxiety. This is how miracles unfold, not from gripping tightly, but from flowing freely. Another practice is service. When you step outside yourself to help others, your energy shifts. Self-absorption often lowers frequency, because it keeps you trapped in worry about your own lack. But when you give even something small, you radiate generosity, and generosity resonates with abundance. Service reminds you that you are connected to the greater whole, that your energy is not isolated. To give is to tune yourself into the field of circulation, where energy flows like a river rather than a dam. Finally, there is the practice of awareness in daily life. It is not only about meditation cushions, prayer moments, or rituals. Alignment is woven into the ordinary. How do you eat your food, with rushing or with mindfulness? How do you speak to others, with irritation or with kindness? How do you walk through your day, with stress or with presence? Each small choice is a frequency adjustment. When you live awake to these moments, you live in harmony with the field, not just for minutes, but for hours, for days, for a lifetime. Chapter 6. The Presence of Alignment. There is something almost indescribable about a person who is truly aligned with the deeper laws of existence. They carry no banners, they announce no proclamations, they do not seek attention, and yet attention naturally finds them. You feel it before you even realize what you are sensing. It is a presence, a quiet steadiness, a vibration that resonates with peace, as if their very being is tuned to a frequency the rest of the world is still scrambling to hear. When you meet such a person, you may notice that they rarely rush. Their words are measured, their tone is calm, and their movements are graceful even in the simplest of tasks. They are not in a hurry to prove anything, because their worth does not hang on external validation. Instead, they live in an unshakable knowing that life itself flows through them and supports them. This confidence is not arrogance. It is rooted in trust, in faith, in alignment with something much larger than the self. Imagine sitting in a crowded room filled with noise, chatter, and distraction. In the middle of that room, there is one person who seems untouched by the chaos. Their presence is not loud, yet it radiates. They are like a steady flame that does not flicker even when the wind howls around it. You find yourself drawn to them without even understanding why. This is the power of alignment. It is magnetic. It does not demand, it attracts. People who embody alignment do not need to preach serenity. They are serenity. They don't tell you to trust life. They show you what it looks like when someone does. Their very presence becomes a mirror that reflects back to you the possibility of peace, patience, and faith within yourself. It is not that aligned. People live lives free of challenge or hardship. In fact, many of them have endured storms that could have broken others. The difference lies in how they move through those storms. Where others collapse in fear, they remain steady. Where others fight desperately against what is, they breathe and allow. Where others see only endings, they see transitions. This calmness in the face of difficulty comes from their inner understanding that life is not random, that energy is always shifting, that even pain has purpose in the greater unfolding. Alignment softens the heart. It makes one less reactive, less explosive, less defensive. Anger fades quickly in such people, not because they are incapable of anger, but because they do not cling to it. Fear still knocks on their door, but it does not move in. Doubt still whispers in their ear, but it does not paralyze them. They may feel the waves of emotion, but they are anchored in a deeper ocean beneath those waves, and so they are not swept away. What sets them apart is the way they walk through life, with a kind of unshakable patience. They are willing to wait, not in resignation, but in trust. They know that everything has its time, and forcing what is not ready only creates resistance. This patience is not passive, it is active faith. It is the calm confidence that the unseen is working, even when the seen looks still. You can sense alignment in the way they listen. When you speak to them, they are fully present. They do not check their watch. They do not scroll their phone. They do not craft their reply while you are still talking. They give you their attention, their silence, their space. And in that silence, you feel heard more deeply than by 1,000 words. Their listening is healing, because it carries no judgment, no rush, no agenda. You can see alignment in the way they move through their daily routines, even in ordinary tasks, pouring tea, tying shoes, folding clothes. There is a care, a mindfulness, a kind of reverence. They do not treat life as something to hurry through on the way to something more important. They understand that every moment is the important moment. To them, washing a dish is no less sacred than speaking a prayer, because both are done with presence. Aligned individuals radiate an energy that feels safe. People around them instinctively lower their defenses. Conversations become more open. Tensions dissolve, and even conflict softens in their presence. They don't need to force resolution. They embody it. They don't need to demand respect. They earn it through consistency. They don't need to insist on being trusted. Their steadiness makes trust inevitable. There is also a noticeable simplicity in their lives. They do not cling tightly to possessions, titles, or recognition. These things may come, and they may go, but their sense of self does not waver with the fluctuation. Because they are not entangled in constant comparison or competition, they are free from the exhaustion that grips so many others. This simplicity is liberating, and others feel lighter just by being near them. When such people speak, their words carry weight, not because they are louder, but because they are rooted in authenticity. They do not waste words to impress. They speak only what aligns with truth as they know it. Their wisdom is not a collection of memorized teachings. It flows naturally from lived experience, from the stillness they carry inside. Alignment also shows itself in the choices they make. While others may chase opportunities out of fear of missing out, aligned individuals choose paths that resonate with their inner compass. They are less interested in chasing everything, and more interested in following what feels right. And somehow, by doing less chasing, they attract more opportunities. By surrendering, they receive. By letting go, they gain. In the presence of alignment, even silence becomes powerful. Sitting quietly with such a person feels like medicine. Their energy fills the room without effort. You realize that alignment is not about what someone does. It is about what they are. They have become a living channel through which the rhythm of the universe flows unbroken. The glow of alignment is not visible in the way bright lights are visible. It is subtle, soft, almost hidden, but it can be felt. It is the kind of glow that soothes rather than blinds, the kind that invites rather than overwhelms. When they walk into a room, the atmosphere shifts slightly, like a new note entering a song. When they leave, you realize the calm they carried was holding everything together. Their strength is not in domination, but in surrender. Their power is not in control, but in flow. Their beauty is not in perfection, but in presence. They live in a way that reminds you of what is possible when you release resistance and step into harmony with the unseen currents of life.